right. Back with, sort of another one, but I had it in a tuck for a while on my blog. So, just making sure I'm recording some of the old stuff. I think this is one of the last ones. But as you know, this is Welchless Thinking. I'm Welch Cannon. I'm going to get right into it right now, right? All right, so this is Not Like Us. Now, what did we miss from the music video or the song of Not Like Us during the Great Beef of 2024? Or did we miss anything? Or what did I miss? So, first I would like to mention this lyric. Wop, 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 wop. Dot F 'em up. Wop, 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 wop. I'm gonna do my stuff. So, the website Genius has some explanation for it, but I kind of don't entirely agree with. If you want to see what it is, you can check out their website. I'm probably reaching here with what I think it is, but when I originally heard it, I told my guy, Meg the Stallion. Why I say this? I truly think how it was worded and said, Meg may have contacted Dot for all we know, told him literally, hey, F him up, or F that crew up, or whatever, on some lyrical ish. And, Kendrick replied back, he would. WAP is most likely WAP, which is the title of the song Meg the Stallion and Cardi B created, which was a huge hit in 2020. Meg did release a song called Hiss, dissing Drake at the top of 2024, and I wouldn't be surprised that, Kendrick and, Meg had a conversation about Drake, and, Kendrick, paid homage to or mentioned Megan, and arguably one of the greatest diss tracks of all time. And quite frankly, she was one of the only women, if not the only woman, to have to confront him. All right. And by the way, any one of Kendrick's songs during the battle is up for debate and what I think is one of the greatest diss tracks. I have no favorite. I truly don't have a favorite. I think every one of the songs that he created is masterpieces. So for me personally, I collectively think they are true masterpieces in itself. They all, belong. They're like a collective for me personally. I can go into a whole diatribe. I'm not even about to go into it. Anyway, I digress. Kendrick even shined a light on Rihanna with the lyrics "Man Down." When he said, "Man down, call an ambulance, tell him breathe, bro." "Man Down" is a song from Rihanna's Loud album, which to me is one of her best songs ever. I'm Caribbean American. I love reggae, and I think Rihanna did an amazing job on that song. But anyways, Meg did a great job calling out Drake on his. Too bad Nicki thought that song was solely about her. Another reason or scenario could be that it's still WAP, still paying homage to Meg, but the conversation never happened. I mean, we know WAP mean wet ass. However, it can be a combination of WAP in the first line and WAP in the second line. That's just my take on it. So let's move on to Not Like Us music video. Okay. So of course it's going to be a series of photos. I think it's obvious that one is supposed to see an owl or some kind of resemblance to a face when seeing this setup. I saw an owl. I haven't seen anyone mention this though, at least not in the spaces I frequent. I did also notice that this could also resemble Drake. And yes, I could be reaching, but when I'm looking at this, I see eyebrows. Eyebrows could be horizontal slash in the speaker. I think this could have been Dot's play on a Rorschach test for the viewers. I also believe Tommy, Kendrick, and the dancers are all in a shipping container, by the way. Now, for the record player. Now, here the above, as you're going to see the picture of the record player. It's very interesting. I saw no one commenting on this. Tommy the Clown presses play on the record player. However, there is no record there. None. However, like I'm like confused by this. I see no grooves of a record, and I'm like, I thought that I'm still think that's weird. Because he presses play and the music starts, and I'm like, okay, that's a little odd. What really is kind of hilarious about, and I don't know if anybody hears it when Not Like Us drops, like when it came on. I remember hearing that song and I was like, doesn't the beginning of the song sounds a little clownish? It's hilarious. I actually chuckled. The way it's created, it sounds a little clownish. So it's very psychological, but it's very hilarious. It's almost like laughing at your enemy. Just saying. But I digress. The combination of photos that you will see in the video, the combination of photos have kind of led me to believe that this setup is supposed to be Drake and the record player. Drake's brain that has no musical talent or something to that effect. Tommy just presses a button and the player spins. Mind you, a clown is pressing a button on the record player in a room that resembles a shipping container or a Conex box. And if I'm right, this is in my opinion, a truly diabolical visual diss. And I guess the lack of hair makes it even worse. That's how I feel about it. Moving on. So this sighting here is really strange. And I see a lot of things I don't think I should see, and it really was bugging me. But anyway, now this may be a schizo sighting on my part, but no one has said anything about it. But I noticed it the first time I watched the video. The very first time I watched the video. I told my guy, are those eyes? He didn't see them at first. I had to pause the video a few times for him to see it. The more I did, the more I was like, these look like owl eyes. Everything K.Dot does is intentional. I've watched this video so many times. Like, this was in full view, not hidden. I tried looking up other shipping containers that may have had like maybe a logo. Nothing showed up. Made me wonder if this is like a stamp or a logo that like Drake allegedly has on his shipments, so that other companies know what to pick up or ship. Again, allegedly, don't know. It's very weird. But if you watch this part of the music video, which you can watch on YouTube, Kendrick doesn't hide this logo, whatever this thing is at all. I feel like there's something to it, but I may be wrong. Like, there's also other numbers and identifiers on the containers. People in the Kendrick Reddit community, they researched this. But at the time that I wrote that part, I'm not sure if people came back with anything. I actually really don't remember. But the logo, no one has talked about, because it was that one thing. I was just like, what the hell is that? Why is Kendrick standing off to the side to this damn thing? Why isn't nobody seeing this and I see it? But anyway, If anybody see anything or find anything about those numbers, hey, I'll let y'all research that on your own. I ain't touching that. So moving on. How about we get to that boogeyman, right? All right. So I watched the video without sound a few times, and I realized something. What if this music video is created with K.O.A.T literally in Drake's head?
This is true.
Is this Drake's living nightmare? Or Drake having a dream, basically? Like, Dot is supposed to be Drake's nightmare? Which he is. Let's be real, right? I get the sense that's what that's supposed to be like. Especially, for example, looking at the beginning of the video. Kendrick shows up, ad-libs similar to Friday the 13th, by the way, moving through a dimly lit hallway wearing white, flickering lighters, a signature to Lil Wayne, which could signify some things, one of which I think is Lil Wayne was the one who put Drake on in the first place, but Lil Wayne shows up in Drake's nightmare in the form of Kendrick Lamar. In the beginning of the video, we all know it is Dot, but he's indiscernible initially. Okay? But, again, he's in all white, flicking lighters, and
vary the harmony.
While the lights are also flickering on and off, it almost seems like Kendrick shows up as a boogeyman and a god. The opening alone seems to have layers. And I'm a pause right there because considering that I had just put out a video and, kind of figuring out in essence what the Michael, Archangel Michael, may have been in terms of what Kendrick put out. For his album cover for GNX, that that Knight Rider may be an inspiration, and that he parlayed that into Archangel Michael, and these references to Michael are super 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 layered, and that and it goes way back to family ties, and that he resurrected himself, and even during family ties, when he's dancing, and I think it's his brother-in-law or his, I think it's Whitney's brother who's holding the flag. He is dancing and he's in white, and I had made the connection of him sort of referencing himself as Jesus when he was resurrected. And here he is, and Not Like Us resurfaced. This is when he comes out post battle, so to speak, once again in white. Which is very telling. So I think it tells you a great deal about those connections of him resurrecting over and over and over again. And I think there's a connection to that. But I feel like he plays on duality a great deal. He is showing up, saying, he's like, I am the boogeyman. I'm playing with that, and then I am also showing up as the reincarnate of, or excuse me, the resurrected, archangel, Michael. in some sort of form, or Metatron or whatever, I am that. Um, or a type of, or you know what, he when he came back out for Family Ties, he was Oklahoma, so that was his name. So yeah, I really would like to see what colors he will utilize once again. Let's put it that way. I will be paying very close attention to that. Anyway, moving on. You then see the next scenes, right? Which are the photos. Again, I've already put them out there. You're gonna see with Tommy the Clown, right? Dot did say, "I see dead people on the track," and in the video, when Dot says this, like, is he saying this? Is he saying this as Drake or as himself, or both? And I'm asking this because Drake has been allegedly accused of XXX Tentacion's and possibly others' demise. Drake may be haunted. I can see this meaning more, of course, the obvious being Dot obliterating Drake in this rap battle, or beef. And then Tommy the Clown's next line is, "You're late." And I in my blog I go into a very long, not very long, but a long diatribe of what that could all mean. I'm not going to go into it here because I'm not even sure what it could mean. I'm not sure at all. It can mean many things. So I'm not going to go into it. I'm not. But it can mean a lot. I will say this. Drake should have been gone a long time ago. That's what I think. And he should never have been as big as he was before the beef. And I've go check out my video, Euphoria. I've made some gripes there as to why he shouldn't have been. I'm not going to go into it here, but I've talked a good amount on that, and I will delve into it more later. But it shouldn't have happened. And there's certain privileges that he was given that should never have happened, because if it's anybody else, that wouldn't have happened. And I think us as people, we have to do better. We really do. On who gets to have what we have in this culture. Before social media, for sure he would have been called out. But again, I'll delve more into that man eventually. It will happen. That's all I'm gonna say on that one. The picture with Tommy the Clown. As I move on, I'm still trying to figure out why Tommy the Clown looked shocked. And it's probably something super simple, because I think Kendrick, he put his middle fingers up. But if I want to connect it correctly, if Tommy is supposed to be technically, he's supposed to be some way, somehow, Drake, in a sense. Yet not. Yeah. Kendrick putting his middle fingers up at him. I can see him like stepping back, like putting his hands up, like what the, So I think Tommy the Clown was playing a dual role as himself and as Drake. So I think he was Drake behind the. I think, okay, so I could see this. I can see him being Tommy the Clown being Drake behind the turntable, And then when he wasn't behind the turntable, he was not Drake. That kind of makes more sense to me. Because because that whole setting was the courtroom. So I'm kind of going ahead of myself there, but that's what it was. So anyway, yeah, so 12 people facing Tommy the Clown, operating a simple digital record player, no record that looks like an owl or person. I think that's interesting. The people may be a potential jury. I do believe that. My blog obviously is very aged. That's from a while ago. Back a while ago. That was way last year. So Drake's on trial, figuratively and literally. And this was basically him knowing what was coming down the pipeline. And that is crazy. So moving on. All right. Dave Free and Kenny. I won't go into much detail here because this is one of the quickest edit shots of the entire video, and it's one of the most controversial. I will say this. Dot and Free is clearly doing a familiar handshake that OVO does. Now, what led up to this rapid fire series of edits is Dave, who's seen on a cell phone with a jacket over his forearm and a young lady next to him, which I think is one of the dancers. Business, quote unquote, is being conducted, y'all, you say, with a deal being closed with Dot wearing a suit. He's now on the phone. I'm assuming the handshake is really allegedly some OVO mafia type shit that, Drake may think he originated. And honestly, when I do see that OVO handshake, or what I call the OK sign, it makes me think of white supremacists. So, personally, it does. But, let's move on from that. The family. Now, when the family appears, the camera changes. It's very interesting to me. It looks as if someone is watching them. My thoughts on this are, I think this is supposed to be Drake watching Dot with his family, enjoying themselves, living their life, and subsequently celebrating and dancing over his grave. Quote unquote. Drake supposedly thinks he knows Dot, his life, when he doesn't at all. I think it's super dope. Whitney got her lip back. And let's face it, Drake comes off like he wants to know more about Dot's life. And it's a bit peep freakish, if you think about it. And listen, if you know, you know. Seriously, pictures. If you know, you know. All right, let's get it. Let's get with it. Near the end of the video, Kendrick is seen with 3 clear reflections of himself. I liken it to him seeing himself, and he said it on the song like that, as the #1 MC in the game thus far, the GOAT, and Big Me. No more Cole or Drake on that list. I'll say the second to last thing. Girls don't cry. Alright? Just like some things I pointed out I haven't seen yet mentioned, this is also one of them. I'm going to be careful with this one. I remember listening to a live of a content creator, and one of the members commented about the tattoos, saying some were fake and the rest were real. I never forgot that. So I fixated on the girls don't cry one. I won't touch that 444 one. The Girls Don't Cry one, I know I've saw that design before. And I truly don't know if the tattoos are fake, alright? Now fast forward, a few months later, I decided to finally research this, and this may be the most well-hidden piece so far. When you search for this phrase, you will see t-shirts with this phrase printed on them, with this exact design. Verdi, a Japanese designer, is the owner-creator. He isn't the point of, this, but once you click on the link, which is very obvious as you will see girlsdon'tcry.shop link, you will see a word that stands out as it stood out for me, which is Harajuku. This made me think immediately of Tanea, a lady who allegedly was invited to one of Diddy's parties and stated she saw younger females dressed as Harajuku girls on a program. I don't need to explain in detail what I mean by younger females. Watch the interview on YouTube. Okay? She was interviewed on a YouTube program called Soft White Underbelly, which the interviewer speaks to different people with different and relatable issues and problems ranging from mental abuse, drug abuse, etc. The initial interview with Tanea was in 2022. The next one that mentioned the Harajuku girls was in October 2024. I feel only a few people would know what that tattoo really meant, and Dot made sure this was in full view. This message was loud and clear, and Dot may know some things about Drake. I'm gonna dot. Some may wonder, what does this have to do with the boy? Well, since Drake had been at Diddy parties, assumedly, as well as Dennis Graham, allegedly, he could have known, been in the presence of young people who shouldn't have been there in the first place. Allegedly. Alright, so with that being said, Not Like Us music video is one of the greatest music videos created for a rap battle, layered, and not only catered only to the boy, but for our people, and who continue to forget who they are and prioritize money, attention, and status over education, mental health, and strength, empathy, and culture. By the way, I changed my mind. The camera to me is supposed to be Drake watching Kendrick's every move. Makes sense. Now, I updated this recently. Very recent. In the last few days. As I said before, I believe camera angles in Not Like Us music video down to the fish lens shots are all supposed to be the interpretation of Drake constantly watching Kendrick's every move. We've seen most recently that Drake likes to pretty much copy what Kendrick does, hence the How to Be Like Kendrick Lamar book in the music video Squabbled Up. In this music video, Nokia clearly copying Not Like Us and Luther. Most importantly, Drake seems to want to know everything about Dot, his contracts, etc., which he made clear on his lawsuit towards UMG. Like I said before, Drake comes off a bit freakish. And the following stills from music videos Dave Free directed conveys this possible theory. Okay? And I'm going to end it with that. I'm going to let you guys watch the rest, because I'm not going to say anything, but you'll just read what I posted. Everything I say there. And it's all there for you to read. So, just watch the rest of the video. And thanks once again. And believe me, you're going to want to watch it all the way to the end, because it's quite revealing how much this guy truly, and I do mean truly, how much they have Dave Free, Kendrick have captured all of this in a way to let us know, us viewers know, what was what when it came to Drake. And watch it all the way to the end. Thanks again, y'all. I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate your patience with me. It's been quite the week, quite the few days, whatever amount of time I've been gone. You know, comment, share, you know, subscribe, like. Thank you for being patient and for just being there. I really appreciate it. But watch it to the end. It's thanks a lot. Thinkers. I'm out.